Hello, hello, everybody. Greetings. Hi, Chef Greg. How are you out there? How's it going?
Good evening.
Good evening. Wonderful to see all the lovely regulars. I love seeing every Wednesday. Uh, Always ready to rock and roll. So let's talk. We're here. We're in week 5. We are almost halfway through with Farm to Table. You guys have all been doing a fantastic job. Really just keep pushing, okay? Keep pushing yourself every week to make sure you're submitting on time. If you've missed an assignment already, make sure you're getting that submitted ASAP so you don't have a backup, a traffic jam at the end of the block. And just keep challenging yourself, all right? Keep striving to do better every week. That's the goal, right? With all of us, right? Myself included. It's all about, hey, make next week better. Be better, constantly trying to improve oneself. So, before we get into things, let's hear from you. How did everybody feel about this week's assignment? How did you all enjoy granola, bean salad? Thoughts, comments? Fairly simple, nothing too complicated. Any thoughts or comments that you want to share?
Well, I won't buy granola bars at the store anymore.
Okay, that's what it's all about. Yeah, no need to buy granola bars when you can make it at home and it's awesome and you control the ingredients, right? Plus, think about how you can adapt that. You could add cinnamon, you can, add some vanilla, you could add a dried cranberry, you can change your nut, right? You could omit your nut, whatever. Pumpkin seeds, anything you want to do, you can start to manipulate it, okay? Cool, happy to hear that. Michelle.
Okay, how would you make that like a chewy granola instead of the crunchy?
You'd have to actually increase. Most likely, you're going to increase your oil and your sugar, right? Honey. That's going to add to and you're not going to cook it as long, right? Those are going to be some of the modifications that you're going to look for to make a chewy. If you wanted to make it chewy, you might toast it before, and then like toast your oats and everything beforehand. Then you're going to add more of your oil and your sweetener, most likely honey. That way you could form that into a bar.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, good question. Now, Chef Greg and I were talking about stuff, some important stuff that came up this week. I'll throw it to you, Chef.
No, please, you start. I'll piggyback.
All right. Okay, guys. Basics 101. How do you make a proper emulsification? Learned it in CU222.
You whip it vigorously until it becomes emulsified. Right?
There you go. You're right. So, great answer. You're exactly right. Whip that vigorously. Now, remember, way back in CU222, you made a vinaigrette without using mustard, right? Mustard aids in emulsification. That helps bind it. It helps bring it all together and helps it stay together. So, the question is, what happened? There were a lot of vinaigrettes that just were not emulsified at all. All right? When we're thinking about technique and skills, remember, we build upon everything that we've learned. So when you've learned a skill and a technique, you want to make sure that you're executing it again. So you made a master vinaigrette. You want to make sure that's emulsified. You want to take those same steps. We know it's not easy to make an emulsification by hand. Of course, it takes a lot of effort. It takes time. Remember what the most important thing is. That slow addition of oil. I'm guessing that's why maybe some of you were not able to get a pure vinaigrette. It was not properly emulsified because you rushed it, right? It takes time. You need to get, oil and vinegar do not mix. You're chemically agitating them to get them to stay together. Of course, they'll eventually break down as well with time, but we got to get to that emulsification stage. You want to make sure that you're executing everything So take time, take patience. Make sure you're focused on what you're doing. Because guess what? That emulsification breaks down, that vinegar breaks down. Guess what? You got a sloppy salad. You have hits of vinegar, hits of oil, greasiness. You want it to have a nice palate, right? Mouth palate and mouth feel. Then it will coat your beans and the ingredients gently. Another thing, Chef Greg.
Yep. So if you guys need to scale a recipe up or down, please absolutely do so. You're making it at home, so whatever works for you. However, if you have your vinaigrette and you're scaling down your bean salad, you're not going to add the same amount of vinaigrette. So if you have a bean salad and it's looking soupy, you have that much dressing in it, if you might be making this in a bulk in a professional setting, it might sit a day, it might sit 2 days, you're using it maybe on the third. If you have that much dressing, that much acidity touching those beans, it's going to start to break down. So instead of having a nice coated bean, it's actually going to start to draw that out and get slimy. You're not going to have that texture that you're looking for. It can draw out some of the color. Canned beans help, of course, because of preservatives and sodium, but dress appropriately. Think about a salad. If you order a salad and it's not dressing on the side, a Caesar salad, for example, you want those lettuce to be nicely coated. You wouldn't want your romaine to be drowning in Caesar dressing. You want it to be tossed nicely. So the same thing with the bean salad or any salad. You want the appropriate amount of dressing. Don't just let something like that just swim in a ton of vinaigrette. If you have to use less or start a little bit, maybe even do it to order, it's completely fine, but you never really want to just have 8 ounces of dressing and 8 ounces of beans. It's just not exactly not a really good fit.
Rely on your chef gut, those internal instincts. Does this look right? Does this seem right? Fall back on that. Believe in yourself, okay? Know that, like, hey, maybe this is not right. Look at quantities. Look at those ratios, like Chef was saying. When you're scaling, we're near the end of the program, guys. We really got to be buttoning it up. You're heading out on externship soon. Trust me. You get in the kitchen, Chef's going to expect you to know how to make an emulsification. All right? Chef's going to expect you to use your internal compass, your gut, your feeling of, hey, maybe I need to cut back a little bit of this. Maybe I need to change like this, right? The recipe is not going to be the same. You cannot, it's a rare occurrence when you can execute a recipe time and time and time and time again, over and over, and have it turn out exactly correct, because there are variables. Maybe you're using a different can of a brand of beans. Maybe your vinegar has more acidity. It's stronger. That mustard's a little stronger. It's weaker. You're using different salt. Slight variations happen, and you have to be able to adapt and work with it. That is the making of a chef, right? Where you're able to say, hey, let me cut back a little bit here. You're tasting, you're checking. Is this right? Is it a little too acidic? Do I need more oil? Do I need to cut back? Does it have salt? Is it a salt lick? What can I do to counter that? All right? So just keep pushing yourself, okay? Chef, is there anything else from this week's observations?
No, I think otherwise, I mean, everybody did a lot of good work. Good things to note. Making something like a bean salad in a commercial setting, you're most likely going to buy big boxes of dried beans. In a commercial setting, they are very cheap. But things like dried beans, oats, they last the entire year round. Granola is something, of course, you can change around, but granola will last all year. Dried beans will last all year. That way you can use them in the winter. It's a huge part of sustainability. So it's really important to know things, of course, fresh, but not all of us, me included, don't live at someplace like California where things just grow all year round. So you need to have those products in your mind that you can use in the fall and winter and spring, depending on how bad your weather is.
Exactly. Cold storage, long term, what do you have? Exactly like Chef said, sustainable, right? Something you can fall back on. So, talking about sustainability. This week, we've got fish and seafood on deck, all right? Now, who here has ever tried sushi or eaten sushi? Anybody out there? Few of us? Some of us?
I have.
Okay. How many people have ever ordered fish or fish out in a restaurant? Who's ever purchased fish at a grocery store? Okay. What if I told you that, wow, guess what? There's the big thing. It's called fish fraud. Yeah. Fish fraud. Sounds crazy, right? But guess what? There was a large study that was conducted, largest of its kind. It came out and showed us that, guess what? Here's a huge chunk of fish that is mislabeled. We'll pull this up so we can all take a look at this together because you are going to be absolutely floored. I know I certainly was. You start thinking about, wait, what the heck was I eating? Okay? Was that really white tuna? Or was that another fish? Was that red snapper? Was that cod? 1 second, I'm going to pull this up. Here we go. Check this bad boy out. Seafood fraud nationwide. Here we go. Let's get into it. Hold your horses because we're getting in. Okay? So, first and foremost, Americans only come second to China for seafood consumption. That's pretty impressive, right? Now, I will share with all of you later, but I want to get down to the nitty gritty, the visuals. Let's see what's going on. Boom, here we go. Seattle, Washington, 18% mislabeled. By the way, they took samplings from sushi, let me pull it up. It was restricted to retail outlets right here. Retail outlets including restaurants, sushi venues, and grocery stores. It is unknown exactly where in the supply chain seafood fraud is actually happening. If it's on the boat, if it's during processing, if it's at the store, they are not sure, okay? One other little fact up here that I want to read to you is this. Seafood is a global commodity and is one of the most commonly traded food items in the world. Today, more than 90% of the seafood consumed in the U.S. is imported. 90%. And less than 1% is inspected by the government specifically for fraud. This company, Oceana, went and collected a ton of different fish and then did DNA sampling to see, hey, is this really what they're saying? Okay? So it can get confusing, especially if we're not totally sure. If we're getting a slice of fish, it looks like what I ordered. I don't know. I can't check the DNA, right? Maybe I'm not sure about the texture exactly. Seems right to me. Portland, Oregon. More than 25% of the retail outlets visited sold mislabeled fish. 38% in Northern California. Rockfish was submitted for snapper 34 different times. 52% in Southern Cal. Highest mislabeling rate nationwide. Denver, Colorado, we got 36%. Gulf grouper was sold as more sustainable black grouper. Guess what? We're talking about what can you do? You can take a cheap fish and you can sell it for a heck of a lot more. Somebody's making money and you're getting duped. Okay? Hey, it's just a reality. We all are. It's okay. We're all in it together. Okay? Kansas City, boom. White tuna, swished with Escalar, okay? Overfished Atlantic cod was sold as orange roughy, another unsustainable choice. Houston, Texas, 48% of the retail visits sold mislabeled seafood. In Austin, every sushi sample was mislabeled. This is shocking. This is out of control. Chicago, my hometown, boom. I'm getting dogged. I don't know what I'm eating, and I eat sushi. Every sushi venue, it sold at least one mislabeled fish. This is crazy town. What the heck is going on? 56% in Penn. Tilapia was substituted for red snapper. Man, are you kidding me? Do you know what an upcharge on that is? Red snapper versus tilapia? We know that tilapia was farm raised. Boston, Massachusetts. We're looking at places that are on the coast, and they're mislabeling stuff, and they're selling this. Because wouldn't you think you're on the coast? Oh, this is good stuff. Yeah, heck no. Raise your hand.
The New York one's the worst.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Chef. New York, 39% mislabeled. Now, why is Chef saying this is the worst? Because tilefish is on the FDA's do not eat list due to high mercury. So, depending upon your internal system, you can't take, a lot of mercury. It will do damage to your system. So we're talking about health issues. Okay? Every sushi venue sold mislabeled fish. DC, boom, snapper. Again, sushi venue, all of them mislabeled. Atlanta, Georgia. One of the few cities that sold a true red snapper. I'm guessing that might be because it's closer to Florida. I have no idea. Maybe they just got lucky. 38% in South Florida, king mackerel. Again, a fish on the FDA's do not eat list for sensitive groups was sold as grouper. So what happens when you go in the store and you're buying these things, you think you get something else, you're buying some other product. Okay? Now, here we go. Check this out. Commonly mislabeled fish. Just take a look. I'm not going to read all this. Just take a look at it. See what's going on. What do you order when you go out? I know I love cod. Okay? I absolutely love cod. How many times have I might not have been eating cod? I don't know. Snapper, red snapper. Grocery stores, okay? Mislabeled versus correctly labeled. That's pretty good, right? Pretty good for the grocery stores. Restaurants? Meh. Sushi venues? Whoa. How many sushi places? Who's ever been to an all-you-can-eat sushi place? I know I love an all-you-can-eat sushi place. Truth be told, I like to get down on that. I don't even know what I've been eating. Okay? So, seafood traceability, right? That's what it's about. Okay? What can consumers do? We got to ask questions. We got to check the price. Purchase the whole fish, right? Think about this. This is not just affecting you as a consumer going to a grocery store or eating out at a restaurant. This is affecting you as a chef, a restaurateur, a kitchen manager, all of these. If you're flipping around and purchasing fish and you're getting it and you don't know what it is, if you're not really sure, you might get a fast one pulled on you. Where are those oysters coming from? Ooh, well, now oysters get a little bit different. There's real heavy labeling that comes into with shellfish, okay? Remember, what's one of the rules? We talked about this before. Shellfish labeling, very important. You've got to keep those tags in case there is a sickness. Any type of foodborne, illness, depending on how it was stored, proper storing, as well as executing of the dish, all right? So I will share this. I'll put this on the class page so we can get into this. But this is wild. I see a hand up. Carrie, what's up?
Yeah, I just want to have this clarified. This mislabeling is done on purpose or by accident?
It's on purpose.
It's on purpose so that they're trying to make more money?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to be sure I was listening correctly.
Yeah, it's not just due to, I thought it was salmon, but it's, salmon.
Arctic char.
Yeah, Arctic char, exactly. It is about being able to take either a fish that's not going to sell because it's on an FDA's list for a do not eat list, or because it is not sustainable, and it's being able to sell that, or it's taking a cheaper fish and marketing it as a more expensive fish. So you're basically, it's a way to get money. Increase your profits by selling a cheaper cut of fish for a more expensive fish. That's what it is. Now, as the report said, they are not exactly sure where it happens in the supply chain. Is it happening on the boat? Is it happening at the import? Is it export, import? Where is it happening? I don't know. I don't have those answers, but it is happening. Michelle, I see your hand up.
I don't understand how they're getting away with that because tilapia is totally different than even cod. And in one on that list, it was saying that they were substituting sockeye salmon for even cod, I think it was. But sockeye is pink. It's more of a pink. So how in the world do you get a reddish pink fish substituted for a white fish?
They were substituting. They were saying it was sockeye salmon, and they were selling like Atlantic farm raised salmon.
Here, I'll pull it up again. Yeah, it was Atlantic farm raised.
Yeah. However, though, if you think about it, me personally, like I know a lot about seafood, I could tell a difference. Is the average consumer making themselves knowledgeable enough to know what that difference is, to know just what the color, what the texture, what the flavor is like? Or are they going out, they're hearing a special, we have this amazing king salmon, oh my God, that sounds excellent, and they're ordering it and they're eating it and they're buying it, and that's how they're getting away with it. If people don't know, I mean, the one for tilapia and red snapper, I fully agree with you. That one seems like a pretty hard sell. But I mean, the like escarole in a sushi place, it like looks like hamachi. Honestly, it tastes like it, especially if you put a little rice wine vinegar on there, put it on a piece of rice. It is very, very close. The texture is a little harder, but unless people are conditioning themselves to know the difference and ask those questions, they'll literally just get away with it the whole time. There's no way to stop it unless people as a whole stop it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No.
Sorry, 1 second. It's exactly as Chef said. If you order something that you've never perhaps had before, you might not know what it's supposed to look like or taste like anyhow. So it's about that consumer awareness. A great question, Michelle. All right, Amber.
So that means if I'm buying a sockeye salmon, which is, I think, a darker salmon compared to Atlantic salmon,
You're
I
correct.
could be getting it more expensive. I'm thinking when I'm getting sockeye, but I'm actually getting Atlantic salmon, even though sockeye is darker, if I remember correctly.
You are correct. Sake is definitely darker in color. Now, so that becomes when you want to be aware, right? You're going to be looking at that. If you see a very pale salmon that's marketed as sockeye salmon, I think you might say, I don't know about that. That does not look like sockeye salmon, okay? But remember, grocery stores, they had a much better rate, okay? Their labeling was a lot higher than restaurants and sushi places. Okay, so take that into consideration, right? That they're really, it's a little bit, it's different. So have a bit more faith in those grocery stores, or especially if you go to a fishmonger, right? Unless they've been duped or they're shady, they're going to be as authentic and true and honest as they can because they want to have repeat customers. And if you're going to a fishmonger to buy fish, you're probably pretty into fish, right? You're taking freshness at it and really wanting that. Michelle, yeah.
I think the only way that they can get away with the sockeye and the other salmon, combining the two, is one of them is actually close to sockeye. When they're inbreeding, they turn a darker. So maybe that's how they're doing it.
Right. Again, it's about that consumer awareness. Like I said, we can easily be tricked and not necessarily know it. So now, this is not to say, hey, nobody eat fish anymore. It's just so that you're aware, okay? Being aware allows us to make better, more educated decisions. That's it, all right? So, who's ever has anybody ever tried a piece of farm-raised salmon? Farm-raised fish? Okay. I would love for people to go out and get it. I see Rachel saying yes. A farm-raised salmon, and then taste it, or tilapia, or whatever, and then taste it side by a wild caught. Check out what the difference is. Is there a textural difference? Color? How does it cook? Smell, odor, flavor. Observe those differences. So then you start to gain your own knowledge, right? Your own checklist of, okay, What's the difference between this and this? Now, some people say, hey, I don't want farm-raised fish. I only want wild-caught. Guess what? All farm-raised fish is not bad. There's some wonderful farm-raised fish. Now, does it depend on how they are raising these fish? Yes, of course. I'm going to pull up some images, and we're going to look at this, the differences of farm-raised, because you could be in a really tight pen with a ton of fish, or your pen could be out miles and miles and miles away from the coast in beautiful, pristine waters, and you have some, cages, and the fish have plenty of room. It's just they're held captive. Okay. Now let's talk about what the feed is. What's going into farm-raised fish versus wild-caught? What do farm-raised fish eat if you're in a pen on land? Pellets, right? Now, how does salmon get that pink, that red, that beautiful hue? From eating krill. Krill, okay? Those little, teeny little pinkish crustaceans that are in the water, that gives that color. So, how do you get that in farm-raised if you're not feeding them krill? Coloring, okay? So, there's a lot of wild stuff going on in the world, guys. Agriculture and food industry is massive. There's going to be trickery, and there's going to be absolute not trickery as well, okay? It falls on both sides. Again, comes down to consumer awareness, being knowledgeable. So let's pull this up so we can share, let's get the visual on these farm-raised fish. I just did a simple Google search here, okay? Farm-raised fish. So, as you can see, these pens, right, that's out in the water. They've got some pretty good space. But now, look at this. Wow, those fish look like they're a little cramped, don't they? Up here, the right-hand corner, a little tight. We've got some good space over here. This one's a little tight, but over here looks all right. Okay. Shrimp, also another one. Okay, many, many things. Tons of variations. Here's a nice picture, right? Check that out. I would say if that's farm-raised fish, I'm down to eat that. That looks like it's going to be pretty darn tasty. There's not even a city nearby. That means there's not a lot of pollution, runoff in that water. That's good stuff. Okay, so this is a huge thing. Sustainable fish is massive, and it is very important in restaurants. Now, I'm going to pull this up, which is going to give you some more information. Boom, Monterey Bay Aquarium, the Seafood Watch. Okay, this is kind of your go-to. Okay, about what's going on. Okay, how did we get here? Check this out. Okay, now let's see. Ooh, where is that? Thought I had this up.
Which part are you looking for, Chef?
The one that you always pull up, Chef, with the list of everything.
With the states?
Yeah.
You go to seafood recommendations.
That's it. Thank you.
And then you go to consumer guides.
Yep.
And
That's it.
That's
Chef,
it?
as he said, eats a lot of fish. He's on the coast. He's all up in this, all right? So let's pick a state. What state you guys want?
Illinois.
Illinois. All right, let's hit it. So you can do this for each state. Okay, now you have different ratings. Best choices, good alternatives, and avoid. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. These will get updated, I think, every year, if not more often than that.
They update the sushi one pretty heavily, where you type in like what fish you want, and it gives you the alternatives. That one's updated pretty decently.
Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, Chef. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, sure. No, I do have a thing to note while you have that up on the screen.
Yeah,
so if we look at something though, like under the best choices, and we go down, and it does say tilapia, and it says Canada, Ecuador, Peru, and U.S. So, however, though, on the avoid list, we see tilapia again from China. So it's not saying that you shouldn't or don't serve tilapia, but you really need to know, where is that fish coming from, or where is that tilapia coming from. Same thing with, we were talking about shrimp. I'm not going to get into details. Shrimp is just do your research on farm-raised shrimp from some other countries. But U.S. farm-raised shrimp, a lot of times they do it in the Gulf, in those huge nets. So they're really kind of out in the wild in a control setting. But then if we look at shrimp again on avoid, we have other imported sources. There's a reason for that. That's not necessarily one where it's overly fished or it's going extinct. Shrimp is definitely something you need to do your research on before you're really eating it or serving it to other people. You should know what type of shrimp that you're getting. But this is a great way to do it. And if you look at some things, I'm trying to see if there's a real good one on here.
Chef, can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Okay, on the list where it say avoid, why does it say avoid tilapia that's coming from China?
It's because the way it's raised. It's not necessarily the most humane way to raise tilapia. It's also not the most sanitary. So if they're not living in a sanitary environment, it's a fish. You're eating that. The end result is you're eating that. That's why on tilapia. But if you look at somewhere where it says tuna, like bluefin tuna, that's just pure fishing. It's just the demand's way too high. The world doesn't let it replenish, and that's why tuna's amazing. However, we just eat it and fish it way too much, and we don't give it a chance to replenish itself. So some things are on there for sanitary purposes, and some things are on there for actual just overfishing.
Yeah, because we're essentially, because of this overfishing, as Chef Greg is saying, we have depleted the sources. They don't have enough time to have little fishies and get them growing and grow that population back, because we keep catching them. So some of them, like just Chef said, are due to overfishing. Others are due to poor practices in raising the animals, okay, the fish, okay? So this is a good way to start using that guide, right? Now, of course, some places really want to have, crab on their menu. But now what do we think? Do we think that maybe, why is crab from Argentina, Asia, and Russia on there? But here it is, crab, king, snow, and tanner from Alaska's okay. Again, it becomes this issue of how is it being sourced? What's going on? There's a lot of information on this page. If you're not an avid fish or seafood consumer, but you plan to have fish or seafood on your menu, you want to know what you're sourcing, right? There's some things that have too high of a mercury content that you shouldn't be eating. Other things are about how they're actually caught, whether it's by massive nets or pole line fishing. All these different practices affect the end reasoning for Monterey Bay Aquarium of why they're either the best, good, or to avoid. Okay? As you can see, the avoid. Take a pass on these for now. They're overfished, lack strong management, or are caught or farmed in ways that are harmful to other marine life or the environment. Remember, everything has an effect, right? We're a huge ecosystem all working together. So if we're overfishing or we're doing something that's detrimental to the environment, it's saying, hey, no, we need to stop. Amber, I see your hand up.
And there's actually an app from Monterey Bay of Seafood Watch too. So if anyone wants to.
Yes, there is an app. Definitely a great thing to get, right? If you're at that restaurant, you want to say, oh, should I get this or not? Huh? Check it out. Also, as
actually nice.
What's that?
It's actually really nice because it showed me like where sustainable seafood is at near my area.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Download that app, guys. Get familiar. Yeah, Chef.
I was going to say, can you bring that up one more time? I just wanted you to show something to the class that's important on there. Go to the top. Go to ocean issues. Or you may have to hit back from the main page.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Ocean issues.
Yep. And then farming, fishing and farming methods.
Yeah, that's what we need. Thank you, Chef.
So when you're looking at this, some things, of course, maybe shellfish, they're on the bottom. Some things are fish, but this explains exactly what they're doing for fishing. And if we just, if we want to look at bottom trawls for a second, they're just dragging that on the ocean floor. Think of how many other items that they're collecting. Maybe they're trying to get lobsters, but there's other animals down there and they're collecting those. So what are they just letting them go back gently into the ocean? Are they serving it as something they're not, like we talked about in the beginning of class? So it's a really good thing to go through and understand. Just because something says a line caught fishing method, it does not necessarily mean that there's a individual out there casting a pole and catching fish. There's a huge amount where they, like a hand, go up just one more second, a hand line,
Yes.
or a jig. They put bait on this on purpose, just like you would for fishing, but there's a lot more lines out there than that. They put lights on them. They attract these things unnaturally to get fish, and they're hooked. They don't think they have a fish on and then bring this up. That fish is on there struggling to get off for a really long time until they pick it up, they weight it, and then they bring the whole thing up and they say, this is the fish we have. But again, if there's something that shouldn't be on that line and it's struggling for 10, 12 hours, what are they doing with it after? And some of it information we know and some of it we don't know.
Exactly, Chef. I mean, you guys remember, who's ever bought tuna, canned tuna? Dolphin friendly? Guess why? Because dolphins were getting picked up in that tuna when they were doing it. That's why they make such a big deal about it. You've got all these, they're called bycatch, right? Bycatch is where you're catching the other fish, the other crustaceans that you're not looking for. And as Chef said, what's happening? Are they getting caught? Are they getting, they're dying and getting thrown back off? Are they getting, who knows? A lot of bad practices, overfishing. So, one other thing I wanted to bring up for all of you to check this out, and just talk a little bit about the difference between wild caught versus farm raised. You're going to see that that is a huge issue moving forward. Okay, we've got things such as, you know, what's the nutritional quality of the seafood? You know, based on, is it a farm raised or wild caught? What's it eating? Farm fish can be higher a little bit in omega-3 fatty acids, okay, because of a fortified feed that they're getting. Some farm-raised varieties can have higher contaminant levels, right? Like Chef was saying, hey, maybe it's not that sanitary, maybe what's going on, okay? So it's very important, especially if you are a seafood and fish lover, to know what's going on. Where are you getting this? Just like we've talked with all of our food. What's the source? Where is it coming from? How is it procured? How is it raised? How is it getting from point A to your dinner plate? And is it even what you think you're getting? Okay? So a lot of things to think about when it comes to fish and seafood. Now, one other thing that I wanted to talk about before we start to get into this week's assignment. Chef Craig shared this with me earlier today. Boom, here we go, fish choice. This map below shows restaurants that are participating in sustainable seafood programs. This is pretty cool. You can find anything. U.S. seafood program. Oh, I don't know about all that. Let's just click there. Now, boom, we're getting even better. All right, where can we find it? So similar to that other app, right? And then we're gonna get in. Boom, boom, we've got a map of this. This is really cool. You can find out where can I get that sustainable seafood? I have a friend who owns a restaurant in New York City that he only sources sustainable seafood. He does not put anything on his menu that is not sustainable. And he tries to be as local as possible. Why? Because he wants to say, hey, we got to start taking steps to protect our environment. That's important to him as a restaurateur. It's important to him what he serves his guests. These are all things to think about. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing this week. It's a technique called en papilote. All right, I'm going to pull up the class page so we know where we're all at together. Wait, does anybody else have any questions? Amber, I think that was from before, or Chef?
I was just going to say Amber has a hand up, but I don't know if I didn't lower it.
All right.
Thank
cool.
you, Amber.
Thanks. All right, let's pull this. Ooh, where are we? There we go. Sometimes I miss stuff. There we go. This is an interesting one, by the way. BusinessEthics.com, the magazine of corporate responsibility. All right. Which farm-raised fish should you buy? Okay, now this is obviously a little dated. It's from 2011, but it gives you, a point to start in. Okay. Really talk about that mercury, neurotoxin. Okay, that can affect you. PCBs and dioxins. All right, there's a lot. Plus, you guys, fish run rampant with parasites. It's just part of being a fish. Okay, they get little guys. Okay. Now here we are, right here, week 5. Do not forget to take those knowledge checks. Got a lot of research materials this week. This is the seafoodwatch.org. Now you've got 4 different movies, videos to watch about technique, how to actually fabricate a fish. Remember, there are 2 different ways to fabricate. There's flat fish and round fish, right? There are different ways to actually fabricate that. Not all fish are fabricated the same. However, those styles, you can always mimic the same way. Okay, now, just don't forget to read your professional cooking, Gislin, and then let's take a look. Let's hop in here. Fish en papilote. All right, get that piece of parchment paper. Okay, you're gonna make a little, basically,
The heart.
Yeah, exactly, a heart. Has anybody ever cooked anything inside a foil packet? Okay, this is not the same, but it's similar in the concept. Remember, if you're keeping something all contained, what's happening? If you close something, how are you cooking that? What's going on? You've got heat, and then what? What happens?
Wouldn't it be like a little steam in it?
Yeah, that's right, Deborah, exactly. Nice job. That steam, that heat that's getting activated, right? Releasing it and cooking. You're keeping all of those beautiful scents, flavors, and everything is kept inside. And then when you open up that parchment, right, the package, boom, you're hit with the aromatics because everything's been contained in that pouch. So, if you do not have dried marjoram, you could substitute that for another dried herb. All right, if you do not have shallot, you could substitute that for a little onion, okay? But really try to hit these up because this is going to give you a beautiful flavor profile. Now, you can use fish or shellfish. That is going to vary in the time for cooking, but one of those key indicators, that paper is going to puff up, okay, because of that steam, the heat. You want to go until it's puffed and browned, okay? Boom. You're also going to do this with a vegetable or combination of vegetables. Exactly same method, but remember, different cooking, okay? You're cooking a fish or shellfish, whether they're clams, little neck clams, or salmon, or tilapia, or what have you available versus a vegetable. Now remember, you want to make sure that, think about what vegetable you're using. Are you doing zucchini? Are you doing peppers? Are you doing carrots? How should you cut those so that they all cook evenly if you're doing a mix? All right. This is old school French technique. Remember, we're at Scoffier. So en papilote is a wonderful technique to learn and know. It's something fancy. It's special. It's a unique way of cooking. that you don't often see. Jeff, did you have anything else that you wanted to add on the en papillote technique?
No, the only thing I was going to cover, and you already did, was you can use any fish or shellfish. Like mussels work great, little neck clams work great. It doesn't have to be just tilapia or salmon. You can use either or, and it's a great technique for both. Shrimp as well. I didn't add shrimp in.
Yes, definitely. And of course, as always, make sure you're knocking this out, guys. Every week you need to have that self-ID and Sani with a label. None of these repeat photos. Mix it up, all right? Okay, make sure you're getting all those photos. Make sure you're filling out that narrative and reflection sheet. You don't want to miss out on points, all right? Michelle, I see your hand up.
Yeah, it's also very important when you're doing the fold that you make sure there is no gaps, otherwise the seam will come out. It's going to be frustrating, but it's worth it in the end.
Definitely, yeah. Make sure when you're crimping your ends that everything's sealed. Otherwise, all that steam that's supposed to be cooking is going to go out. You need to keep it contained. That's how it puffs up. That's how we get color. That's how it cooks. All right, because you're cooking it inside its own little capsule. Does anybody have any questions?
Are you going to share your page you was having up there?
Yes, I will share. I will share those websites. I'll put them on the class page for anybody who wants to access them. Does that sound good? Cool. Amber, I see your hands up.
Now I was reading the instructions on how to cook it. It says to put in a skillet first, or do you have to do that while the video says you can put in the oven? You have to do the skillet, or it says in the instructions.
You can do either one. What the skillet's going to do is you're going to get more heat quicker, and it's going to start the process faster.
Okay.
If you put it straight in the oven, that's completely fine too. But if you have it on a sheet tray and the sheet tray is room temperature, it's going to take a while for that sheet tray and all that air to circulate to get that same heat that you would. But if you put it on a sheet tray and go straight in, it's like you wouldn't get deducted from your grade. It is just a lot of places. The recipe is more of a restaurant base. So if you had these laid out in your underneath cooler and you had a ticket for it, you heated up your saute pan, got a little spray, maybe a little oil so it didn't, just make sure it didn't stick. You would put that in there, got a quick little sear, then put it in the oven. You're going to be able to serve that a lot faster than if you just went straight to the oven. So it's just more of a restaurant technique. But you can feel free, please, though. You can put it straight into the oven.
Exactly.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and on that same note, Chef, it would be the same as, say you've got 20 of those, okay? Think about that, right? You would want to you would want to have sheet trays and doing that as opposed to doing everything in one by one in a skillet. So it really depends, right? When you're doing it for 1-2 little packages, definitely go the extra effort. Check out how to really do that with the skillet. I think you'll have a better result. But either one will be fine. All right. Any other questions?
Chef, I have a conventional oven. Can I use that?
You have a convection oven, did you say?
Yeah.
A convection oven will work, but you can just put it on the regular. Most ovens you can go convection or regular, because convection creates air.
Yeah.
And circulates. So I would go. I would do it on a regular setting, but.
Okay.
Jeff, what would you suggest?
Yeah, you can use the bake setting.
Yeah.
Because the convection's just going to literally blow the paper.
Yeah.
In which case, like your seams and stuff have more of a chance. If it's on convection, it's completely fine. Try not to place it directly in front of the fan, of course. If you have like a double, kind of try to put it in the middle. If you just have one convection, just try to put it somewhere where it's not just the fan is just straight at it. Just for the seams is the only reason why.
Exactly. Cool. So there's a lot to learn about fish. Remember, class, this is about farm stable. This is about sustainability. It is about awareness and knowledge. That way we can make better decisions. As a purchaser, as a consumer, as a chef, knowledge is power. The more we know, the better we can be. All right? So I will put those links up. If you have questions about anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. I think that's it. Chef, do you have any other parting words?
No, just something to think about from the conversation from class. When you go to buy your fish, your shellfish, whatever you purchase, just keep an eye on it. Look at it. Maybe they have a wild caught salmon at the store at a farm raised. Just look at the prices. Look at the color. So start to develop that knowledge now. This is a great time to just look at other prices of things. Maybe they have swordfish in there. It's going to be pretty expensive. You don't have to buy it. But look at the price of that tilapia versus the swordfish. And then do a little research why. Why is swordfish that much more expensive than something like a tilapia? So when you go to do your shopping, just keep the ideas flowing when you look at what you're purchasing.
Definitely. Right on. All right, class. Well, let's rock this out. Knock out week 5, and we keep charging. All right? If you have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Keep up the great work. Keep kicking butt. Keep being the best that you can. And let's do it. All right? Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.